after getting some corn and a bit of nuts, the journey proceeded. As I was just a little bit of hungry, but there were no much of shops on site, so I just actually had to deal with what's actually on the ground. So people, this area is pretty much full of animals, domestic animals. When you are riding or driving around here, you really have to be careful and very cautious to avoid this. So from what I've observed throughout the entire trip from Harare to Beitbridge, this particular area is actually the most dangerous one when it comes to domestic animals, just freely roaming around the road, crisscrossing without any form of restriction. And even the headmen are actually nowhere to be seen. So you really need to be very, very cautious at this place. So it's pretty much after the Runte river. From there onwards, all the way until at the toll gate, that war section is very, very, very bad when it comes to domestic animals. So you need to be very cautious and careful. Lots of animals around, just lying around here after being hit by vehicles and stuff. If you checked the first episode of my trip to Harare, I actually filmed there was actually a herd of cattle which was lashed down by some heavy vehicle. I think there were about 10 or so. This is actually the very same area. And today here again we see this other, like I think there are about 5 or so just lying around the road after being hit. So this stretch is actually very, very, very dangerous and deadly when it comes to domestic animals just moving around. One needs to be really, really careful. As you can see, there are some animals there. You can actually see them. They're just grazing along the road. There's now from a fence or so. In some cases there is fence, but I wonder how they jump across and get to mix and mingle with the traffic there. I wonder how that happens. But yeah, anyway, we kept rolling and a bit of showers here and there. The weather was actually really, really nice. It was not really raining and it was not that hot or super sunny, but it was actually like in between, just getting a blessing of showers here and there and get to cool off from the heat and stuff like that. So it was really, really nice weather. You can see even the cloud cover there is not that bad, and a bit of showers here and there just to cool us down as we actually kept on throttling on the way up there. At this moment in time, 911 was still ahead. When I branched off getting some corn there, 911 kept on going, because we didn't have the comms, we didn't have communication. I couldn't even tell him that, I'm just branching off just to get something here. There was no communication. However, as bikers, we have our code of conduct, we have our way of communicating and way of checking up on each other, So when you're actually riding as a perk or as a group, or even just two of you, if you're the lead, you always just check around and see, right, if others behind are still coming up, they're following here and there, right? So it's actually a norm thing which we do. And we actually find out that probably because we know that when we sometimes you just need to get recess and stuff like that. So we can't always stop here and again every time and say, hey, I want to do this, please stop everyone. I want to do this, please everyone stop. I want to answer this emergency call, everyone please stop. You can't do that. So sometimes you just take those quick stops and then you get to sort yourself and then you follow up. So what happens, like the leader will actually keep on checking for a certain time frame or for a certain distance and see if the pack is actually still following or stuff like that. If the leader goes for a certain mileage or for a certain time frame without actually seeing anyone catching up or without anyone showing up, they'll actually get to a point of stopping and probably allow the the pack to catch up. Again, if still after some time there's nobody catching up, then the leader or the guys who are actually ahead, they will actually have to send one messenger or send one person, probably one with the fastest bike or anyone, and then just go down the route exactly and check until the point of loss of visibility, and then see if everything's still right, if the team behind is still catching up and it's still coming through nice and easy, and if there's an issue already, we can actually be able to know that, oh, there's an issue there. The guy will actually come back again and update others. Okay, let's turn back all of us, or we're gonna sort it out quickly now. So maybe someone had a puncture, or someone like their brakes just lost efficiency, and then they're trying to put back the brake pad, or the brake fluid is leaking somewhere somehow. Just one of those things which you can actually encounter when you're on a trip, especially these long distance trips. But we even hardly have those kind of things or breakdowns. We hardly. I think the only problem which I had, I was actually a solo rider then. I had a pump failure, the water pump. So the water pump is actually a machine which actually helps in a rotational flow of the water which cools up the engine system. So the water pump failed, and how I noticed that is I just started seeing the temperature of my bike going up, and obviously these bikes, they have technology which actually keeps on talking to you like a human being, that there's a difference in temperatures. The engine temperature and the coolant temperature, they're not different. What's going on? If it keeps on going, then it will actually tell you, hey, please, you actually need to attend to this as soon as possible. The temperature is still keeping on going. It actually shows you as the temperature goes up. So it will be up to you to keep on going and destroy or roast the pistons in the engine block, get them stuck on the walls of the block and blow the engine, or you actually stop and try to get some help assistance somehow. So yeah, these machines, they usually talk. So when you see one actually having a problem or a trouble, like for engine blow, or even a silly thing, like the machines will actually have communicated earlier. So yeah, that's how we actually communicate. But anyway, in most cases, we do have the helmets, which are actually fitted with the communication systems, we do call the comms, and mostly those are your Sena. Sena is one of the greatest provider of the intercoms on the bikes and stuff, and there's also what's called Cardo. It's actually one of the direct brands as well. So yeah, we do use those for communication. Probably if you see a pothole, or you see a car in the middle of the road, or if you really want to take a recess and you're scared that everyone is gonna fly out and leave you behind, stuff like that. So we do use those for communication, so that we don't always guess where is who, what's happening, who wants what. Anyway, we got to the toll gates, and I managed to catch up with 911. And from here off we went, and we rode all the way straight up into the borderline and get to process and actually proceed with the trip. So yeah, enjoy the views as we throttle all the way up. Now we're very, very close to the borderline.
Love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for
from here we actually pretty much approaching the main roundabouts, which actually branches the main roads which goes to two of the largest cities of Zimbabwe, that is Bulawayo and Harare. So when we got here, Dr. 911 actually got lost a bit. He proceeded all the way. Seems like he was enjoying more Zimbabwe. He wanted even to go to Bulawayo. So I actually had to signal to him that, hey, you're getting a paper tour of Zimbabwe. You're now going to Bulawayo. Please make a U-turn and let's get to go. Now what you're about to witness here, right, is actually the main reason why they call this border post one of the busiest one in the whole Southern Africa. Probably even like, I don't know, probably even the whole the whole of Africa, I'm not sure, but Beitbridge is pretty much busy, and mostly due to the trucks. You see the trucks you've been seeing on the road there. We've been actually coming across a lot of trucks with different goods. Other video I once told you that most of these, they're even carrying copper. There is it. So you can actually see the copper there with the flat decks. It's being siphoned out of Africa to some Chinese countries and some European countries as well. Some they carry different stuff. Some it's fuel. Some is other granite and all different things. So these are all trucks. There was a huge queue of trucks. Huge queue of trucks. You see them all the way there. I think we have seen more than 20 or 30 already right now. They're all going into South Africa. As you know, South Africa has got a Durban Bay there, which is actually a seaport, you know. So most of these are going into the ship. Just a few of them are actually just going into the economy of South Africa and, you know, for refineries and stuff. But most of these, some of them are actually going overseas, you know. Lots of trucks. You see these trucks, lots of them. Most of these are actually coming all the way from DRC, Tanzania, Zambia, and the likes. You know, now that there's Kazungula border post, which is there as well, but still, most of them, they prefer to come through the Beit Bridge border post. Lots and lots of trucks, as you can see there. The goods moving all the way up. This was quite a very long queue, and this was just a normal day. It was just a normal day. It was not a Christmas day or anything, and now here we actually have them split into two lanes, you know, but still there are just many of them. I think they were close to maybe 200 or something like that. So you can imagine if your father or your friend or your husband or whoever is actually a truck driver, this is how they endure, what they face, you know, each and every cross-country trip. You know, that's why most of these guys, they take a month or even 2 months before going back home, you know, while it's down on a trip with the goods and stuff like that. They enjoy a lot, especially border crossings. It's not an easy process. It's not a child's play. Someone can take 2 weeks just here trying to process the paperwork. I really don't know why the countries can't just make this thing to be easy. You know, you do all your paperwork online and then you just come here, you just go. But it seems like everything is done online while people are waiting. But anyway, we got here. And we just had to pause a bit. As you can see that the gentleman is actually helping himself. This is one of the issues which actually comes through with this kind of trucks and stuff like that, because these get parked for a long time. You can imagine these people, they are normal human beings. They need toiletry, they need to bath, they need to eat. Some of them, they even carry some gas stoves and a little bit of kitchenry stuff for them to cook and stuff. And they end up helping themselves, because once they eat, they'll need a toilet, you know, and they can't get a toilet anyway, so they end up using this facility, the open space, and do whatever they do. So you can actually see that hygiene is compromised there. The state of health is actually not in a good shape. I think the authorities actually need to put this in place and actually take care of these kind of things there. Otherwise, yeah, the cholera outbreaks and stuff like that are just gonna be story of the day, because you can imagine 200 trucks, imagine 200 well-grown-up people coming out there and oozing out about a liter each. You know, the whole place is gonna be stinking, you know. So yeah, anyway, we are just entering the border post, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Beit Bridge Border Post, and this is the Zimbabwean side. And yeah, from here I'm just gonna outline to you the entire process, how it goes through, what you need to go through, how it gets processed and stuff like that, so that you can actually get to know how to cross the Beit Bridge Border Post, whether you're going into Zimbabwe or you're going into South Africa, you're leaving South Africa, going to Harare, going to Zimbabwe, or you're leaving Zimbabwe going to South Africa. So the first point of entry is here at the first boom gates. Here they actually take the registration of your vehicle, your license, the plates, essentially. They capture that and they give you a slip, which is more of a gate pass. Right. So when you get in there, that gate pass gets validated through a number of stages, which I'm going to outline to you. Right. You need to go to the CID department. This is the Criminal Investigation Department. So when you get there at the CID department, they need to check the papers of the vehicle and check them against the owner. Who are you? And are you legalized to drive this vehicle? Do you own it? Or if you don't own it, do you have an affidavit at least to affirm that you have been authorized to use it? So from the CID department, you go to TIP department, right? That's the ZIMRA. You have to drop your TIP. A TIP is a temporary import document which they give you when you actually enter into Zimbabwe to say you are temporarily authorized to take your vehicle and use it in our country, and you pay a hefty amount for that TIP there, right? Proceed to go to what they call the Zim borders. This is another money-making cow. You go to the Zim borders and then you get to shed even more, give them even more money. Now you proceed all the way into the immigration and you get to stamp your passport. They get to recognize you in the system that, okay, now you're leaving the country, right? From there, you go to another department called ZINARA, Zimbabwe National, I think, Roads, yeah, something like that. There's nothing else other than to shed some feathers. You leave money there, you just pay them for using their roads. You just pay that money, and they just take it. Always, each and every time. And for a bike, that money is about $4, So it's all about paying money, people. It's all about paying money. And you pay. And then off you go. You can actually cross the border. So once again, here's just a quick recap of the processes thereof which you actually need to follow when crossing the Beit Bridge Border Post, which is actually the border post between Zimbabwe and South Africa. So number one is you enter the border post itself. You're going to get to the boom gate, which is controlled by the company called the Zim Borders. You actually have to get your gate pass right there, and then you proceed inside. Secondly, you have to go through the CID department for vehicle and driver clearance. They do vetting, and then once they are happy, they have certified that you are who you say you are, and your vehicle, it is what it says it is, and both of you have got a relationship. They clear you, and then you proceed. And thirdly, you actually have to go to the ZIMRA. This is the documentation side of it. You actually have to pay for the temporary input permit, or you actually just have to drop it off, and you pay actually a certain amount which you actually have to pay there, form of revenue. And then fourthly, you have to go to the Zim Borders, and at the Zim Borders you actually have to pay a certain amount there. I'm sure it's for the border maintenance or whichever process they run there. So that amount, again, it varies on whether you are riding or you are driving. After paying that, then you go to the fifth step, the immigration. You have to get your passport stamped. You have to be recognized or register in the system that you're actually exiting the country or you're actually entering into the country. That's how they get to manage how you actually spend your days in the country. And the sixth step is, again, a revenue making system. You have to pay your ZINARA a certain amount. That all depends, again, whether you're driving or riding. And once you are done, you are done. Then you actually have to head on your way and go and enjoy the trip. Okay, so now we're actually crossing into South Africa. As you can see, this is the mighty Limpopo River, and what we are riding on right now is the bridge, the mighty Beit Bridge,
which was actually named after the German settler called Sir Alfred Beit, the founder of the well-known De Beers diamond mining company. He actually had a lot of business interests between South Africa and Zimbabwe. On the left there's actually another bridge. That's the old Alfred Beit Bridge, which was actually being used back then. It was constructed in 1929, but now in 1995, this newer bridge here was later on constructed and opened up to traffic and road usages. And surprise, surprise, this bridge was actually constructed by the Zimbabwean government. That's a shocker, isn't it? I was also shocked when I learned about this. But anyway, so yeah, we actually here into South Africa. So let's go and see how the South African process actually treats us as we actually proceed on our route to Johannesburg.
Welcome to South Africa. This point here is actually the very much entry into the South African country. So yeah, we actually now on the South African side, and we're actually about to do our processes as well, and before we proceed and check out of South Africa. So what you need to do on the South African side is actually not much. There is nothing much there except to stamp your passport and register that. If you're a resident, register that, well, I'm back home, here I am, right? And then they actually book in the system. If you're a visitor, it's more like, well, knock knock, I am arriving in your home. Then they actually get to book you and give you visa days and tell you that, okay, welcome, but at least before these days expire, you need to make sure that you check out here, right? So that's pretty much it, what you just need to do there in South Africa. And then after that, you go to customs just to stamp your gate pass and show that, okay, you've been there and these are the items you have. You have this kind of vehicle, you are alone or you are 2 or 3, and these are the registration plates and stuff like that. Then the customs clears off. You don't pay nothing, you don't pay a cent, not even a 1 rand. Anyway, we actually lined up right now and having some cool chit chat time with the South African police service personnel. They were actually giving us a good chit chat time, and we're talking, exchanging jokes and fun stories, sharing even some real life stories as well, you know. So it was pretty much cool entry in South Africa, of course, without paying a cent. It's actually very cool, and then you get a good service. The only bad service on South African side is the long queues. The long queues, that thing, yeah, it's not on at all. It's not on. Otherwise, everything else is fine. Especially they're not paying thing.
But this one is best. Yeah, I know this one. Other than that one, the super bike is something else. Because like even on long distances, you can't survive. Man, how do you survive on the road? If something just passes here, or like that thing was a bed. A bed. Yeah, a bed would be at least most of the wheelchairs.
Now, when you get here, you need to declare your gate pass. I mean, you need to give it to the police officer or the official who will be actually seated there. Yeah, so yeah, as we checked out, we actually had a bit of an incident. I don't know where this guy came from, all the way this guy here in black. You know, you can understand that 911 is now in his territory and is beginning to be recognized by almost everyone there. But this guy, I don't know if he was a fan or he actually almost plunged into us there. I really don't know what was going on. But yeah, we just stopped and talked to him 1 or 2, and then we proceeded all the way to the garage. And while we were entering into the garage, we actually managed to meet part of those other guys, our friends on the road. We were actually getting in to fuel up, and they were actually getting out as they were done with the fueling up process. So yeah, we just got in there, we fueled up as well, and then we actually had to check out. So people, otherwise this video is going to be pretty much long, so I actually have to end it up here, and then please catch up on the next video. If you liked it, please leave a like there, and if you are not subscribed as yet, please go ahead and subscribe so that you don't miss out some of the cool content and stuff which I'm gonna post actually in the oncoming days. It's gonna be very, very interesting, and you don't really need to miss that one out. So please do subscribe, do like, do comment, and let's engage. I think